and Tom's performance is he does that Tom Hardy thing so well in this film, where he becomes he's a chameleon, right? He just becomes this snarling former power player who's losing his mind. And if you could share a bit about the vibe on set with Tom, and also how much of what we see Tom doing is based on facts. So, for example, that scene with the golden Tommy gun, right, where he goes on a rampage. That's one of those moments where I was sitting there wondering, wow, I mean, did that actually happen?
Well, as it happened in the movie, it was then, revealed like it all happened in his head, but that he had, accidentally fired off a shot that hit the gardener, and that was all that really happened. But there's no evidence of that at all. And like I've said, the movie isn't so much a movie about Al Capone as it is an impressionistic, art film about somebody who at one point was Al Capone and is living in these sort of swirly memories in his present space of images and people from his past, and so I felt a creative license in rendering some of these scenes and holding him accountable in ways for things that we know he did do, but transposed onto the present reality of the script in that time period. So it's not a stretch to imagine that Al Capone has probably shot somebody before. So I just, instead of it being then, I made it now, but in a way where he was not mentally, really responsible for it in a way, right? But as far as just working with Tom on set, I mean, one big thing that I realized right away is, he's not a method actor. He's the opposite of the method actor. I've been seeing a lot of, stories of, a lot of reviews that are saying, like, Tom taking method acting too, and it's like, he's not a method actor. Like, method acting is very specific. That's when you are embodying the character on and off camera during the experience while making the movie. It's like what Jim Carrey did during Man on the Moon that drove everybody nuts because he's running around thinking he's Andy Kaufman, and people are like, stop being Andy Kaufman. Tom is one of these uniquely gifted performers where he can turn it on and turn it off like a light switch. And when you witness him do that, it's incredible. Like, you're witnessing a human being who has a level of talent that is just, almost like inhuman. Like, he's just what he can do with his body and how he can just go from, sweet Tommy to just scary monster and just like the snap of your fingers. So there's no sense of danger when you're around Tom Hardy on set. Like, he's a person with you, and he's very literal and metaphorical in all the right ways. Like, when we're talking about things, we have our own little secret language, shorthand, and things that we can jump to, and he's very collaborative, and he always wants feedback. He's not somebody who tries to make, he doesn't try to wrap his acting technique in some mystique or something like that. He's very, he's very, he's very, open about exactly how he does what he does, and it's very refreshing to work with somebody like that, because oftentimes you'll work with very talented people who keep their secrets private, like keep their skills to, like what they keep their process a secret, and he doesn't. He's like, this is my process, this is how I do it, and it's better for you to know so that we can, get somewhere like quicker and the most thing produce the most results. He's almost like very like military in that way.
Hey, Alfie, last question.
Oh, no problem. So, Josh, now that you've finished Capone and it's out for the world to see, as a filmmaker, do you feel more at peace with what happened earlier with Fantastic Four? And do you think, as an artist, as a director, coming back with a different type of story set in a different type of world. You could share a little bit about that, about just making peace with what happened and how making more work and making more films is what the process has been like in putting the past in the past, especially because I mean a lot of the world right now is going through that sort of feeling too, with what's going on with lockdown and everything, and looking back to things as they were, right, and then looking forward to a different kind of future.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, for the last couple of years, it's one of the main things in my head is to just get away from this Fantastic Four thing. It's not something I want to have lingering around me, and to me, this movie was the only way to put that behind me. So I think anytime that a filmmaker releases a movie, it's immediately behind them, and whether the movie is good or bad. Like, I love Capone with all of my heart. It's my favorite thing I've ever done. I'm connected to every frame of it. I can watch it every day, and I love it more and more. But now that it's out, in a way, that's behind me, and I can only focus on what I'm doing next. So for me, I just try to stick to my guts no matter what, while at the same time using all the tools that I've learned from my different experiences and on all the ways that I've grown and matured through this career that for me, I think started pretty early. I mean, I sold my first movie, Chronicle, when I was 25. So I was, definitely still, growing and learning, and I wasn't, didn't really quite feel like an adult yet, but I did in other ways. So I'm 36 now, and going forward, I've got a lot of, really intense and exciting creative projects that I've been collaborating on with Tom Hardy, none of which I can really talk about just because it's very much a process. I want to be done with the first draft of something before I know, okay, is this it? Before setting any expectations. But, there's this one project that I'm working on with Tom. It's a limited series, in the scope of 10 episodes, focusing on from the immediate aftermath of World War II to the creation of the CIA and this sort of kind of never really explored area of the CIA's activities in Cuba and Russia during this time period from 1945 all the way to the end of the 60s, and it's very big. It's very it's stuff that I'm just very fascinated by for years. It's actually where I was saying Capone was something that wasn't on a bucket list or something that I was really thinking about. This is something that I have been thinking about for about 10 years, and when I told Tom about it, he was like, "Oh, dude, we gotta do that." So.
Wow. No, I'm totally looking forward to that. That sounds amazing. Well, thanks, Josh, for speaking with us today about Capone.
Of course. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the conversation.
No problem. Congrats on the film. And, on a personal note, frankly, with Fantastic Four, I thought as a director, you still did what a good director is supposed to do, which is I was never bored during that movie. So,
thank you. I appreciate it.